Guys, when it comes to imali, you guys don't know. When it comes to imali, I'm willing to hustle. Even at my age, like I'm willing to hustle. Hi team, welcome back to another video. If it is your first time, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do hope that you enjoy it and you check out the rest of our content as well. On this channel, we chat about all things related to managing our money and adulting in general. So today, guys, I thought I would just do a chilled chat slash story time about my first job, how I got my first job at the age of 18. And I also wanted to include how at the age of 18 going on to 19, I got to have 4 streams of income while in varsity full time. So I'm not going to dive too deeply into the other streams of income. You'll see that it's just self-explanatory. It's not that deep. But like my first job was very important to me because I had been waiting for a very long time. I know that I got it after I turned 18, but I mean, like I still had been waiting for a very long time, so I was excited about it. Okay, so let's get into the video, right? Before anybody starts wondering why is this mom allowing this young child to look for a job before she even turns 18 or 16, what is going on? Let me just explain that. Firstly, my mom was not supportive of the idea of me working at a young age, mainly because of 2 reasons. Reason number one, I did not grow up with my mom, my biological mom, that is. She was in Eastern Cape, I was in Durban in school, right? So I wanted to get a holiday job like ASAP. And what that meant was that the time that I had to spend with her, so I'd go home to Eastern Cape during the school holidays, and that's when I'd get to spend time with my mom. But now, if I got a job, it meant that I'd go somewhere else or I would be occupied during the school holidays and she'd lose out on that time. And I moved away from my mom when I was 3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken, but I definitely know it was before preschool. So she hadn't had a lot of time to spend with me either than those school holidays. And now, like after grade 7, I now wanted to give away that time. So she's not happy about that. And the second reason she didn't support it is because she felt like I'm going to start earning an income and then I'm going to be like, hey, if I can get money without going to varsity, why am I wasting my time in school? I didn't think that way. I didn't think I'd be trapped into that. But she had, friends who had children who had gone that route where they had a taste of an income and then they decided I'll just take a gap year. And then after a gap year became 2 years and 3 years and all of those things, right? So because of that reason, she was like, nope, you are not getting a job. So then I persuaded her, and how I managed to persuade her was that I told her that I would find a job where she was based. So where she was working for Sun International for many years, more than 35 years. And I told her that I would get a part-time job at her workplace. That way we could live together during the school holidays and I would go to work and she would go to work and then we could spend time together afterwards. I was just merely a teenager, but I was already thinking of how to get my way and how to find ways around situations to basically get what I want. So she was like, okay, cool, that's fine, because I also work during the school holidays, which means that the only time we get to spend together is after and before my shifts. So that works just fine for me. Then she agreed on that premise. So then when I was 14, 15, I started looking for a job there, right? I was very specific about finding it there. My mom worked for Sun International, Wild Coast Sun to be specific. It's on the coast between after Port Edward, straight after Port Edward. If you're not familiar with it, that's where Wild Coast is. And then the staff actually have staff quarters, like a shared accommodation thing going on there, so you can actually live there, like a walk away from work and stuff like that. So it was very convenient. So then I started looking there. So now I'm 14 years plus, and I find out that they actually don't speak to anyone who's below the age of 16. You have to be like 16 years old before they have a conversation with you around getting a job. So I was like, okay, cool, then I'll wait. Then after I turned 16, I seriously started looking, like I'm talking, prepared fully to start working during the holidays. And then What happened was that the opportunities that I found that were good enough money wise, or that made sense to me money wise, were in the restaurants, the bar areas, and stuff like that. And there, you needed to be over the age of 18 because obviously you were exposed to alcohol. So they didn't want to hire anyone who's below the age of 18. Even if you were going to do something simple, like be a runner, you had to be 18. Another bummer. Then I had to wait. And then as soon as I turned 18, which is when I matriculated, and I'm now in my first year of varsity, I was like, okay, cool. Now I've turned 18 and I'm on my way to 19. Let me look for a job because now I qualify. So now we are at actually finding the job. So what happened was that my mom introduced me to someone, an individual that also worked for Sun International at Wild Coast. And she said that, you know what, chat to this guy. He's young as well, and he works there full time, and he kind of knows his way around, and he can help you like find one of the opportunities that you're looking for. And then I met the guy and I introduced myself to him, and then we spoke, and he's like, okay, cool. You seem very eager. You've got a lot of energy and you speak well, so it shouldn't be difficult getting you something that is going to be like customer facing, customer service, or something like that. And I was like to him, I don't even care. Even if I sweep or like whatever I do, as long as it makes sense for me in the sense that I do have a bit of money coming in. I've never been one to be proud, especially at the start, to be like, no, I'm not going to work for anything less than this. I've always had that mentality and always told myself that I'll enter low and I'll work my way up. That has always been my thing in any project that or job opportunity that I take on. Obviously, the more experienced and qualified you get, I mean, the entry level must now be, a bit reasonable. So it's definitely not exactly the same, but I still have the same culture of being willing to prove myself before I actually start demanding and stuff like that. So I meet the guy, and then he's like, no, it's going to be easy. So I'm like, great. And then he's like to me, are you free the next day? I think it was a Saturday or a Sunday. And I was already on June school holidays from varsity. This is now my first year of varsity, and it's June. And we close for the first semester. So I went to visit my mom, knowing that I also want to look for a job. So then he's like, okay, cool, let's go there and speak to a couple of people tomorrow. So then I ask him, okay, what do I wear? What do I prepare? I've been like doing my own research. I know there's interviews and stuff like that. So I want to be prepared. I want to know how to represent myself, what to say, what to not say, and all of those things. He's like, don't worry, I got you. Like, you don't have to say anything. I'm like, oh, okay. It's like, yeah, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to prepare anything. I'm going to introduce you to the right people. I'm going to speak on your behalf. So you don't have to just bring your CVs, like the CV copies that you've printed, so we can leave them there. But otherwise, you don't have to prepare anything. So then I ask him, what do I have to wear? No, don't stress about things like that. Put a pair of jeans, be casual or whatever. Like, don't worry. Nah? Okay, sharp. Then the next day, again, I remember it was a weekend. The next day, we go to we go to Wild Coast, the area, and there's obviously it's like a hotel, and there's restaurants and like bars and all of those things and offices and all of that. So then I'm ready to go. I was wearing a cute little dress, and then off I go, right? And your fesa, that's what they call it when you're looking for a job. Your fesa, yeah. So I've got my CVs in hand and in your fesa, walking with this gentleman. Then when we get to the offices, like the HR offices and the admin offices, they were closed. That's how I remember that it was a weekend, because the offices were closed. And then it's like, oh, snap, actually, the offices are closed. I didn't think about that. Now I'm so disappointed. I mean, you guys have heard that I've been waiting years to get this opportunity, and now I'm almost there. And then I hear that the offices are closed, and I'm like, oh, when am I going to get a job? When am I going to start earning? And then also it was like the holidays of first semester. So I'm thinking of all this time that I'm going to waste if I don't get an opportunity now. As we're walking back, he sees a lady wearing the Magic Company uniform, If you're familiar with the Magic Company, it's like a fun company where there's games and kids areas and bowling alleys and all of those things. Most casinos do have one. So he's like, okay, actually, why didn't I think about this? You can actually go to the Magic Company and you can, leave your CV there and then ask them if they've got an opportunity. Well, he's not saying I can, he's saying he can. He can go there and check if the manager is there and then ask them if they have an opportunity. So I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know, dude. As long as I get a job, like do what you need to do. You doing everything, right? I'm not doing anything. So I mean, handle business. Sharp, we agree. We make a U-turn. We go back to the Magic Company offices. Then he asks the supervisors if the manager is there. The manager was there as well as her husband, who's the managing director. So she's the general manager and the husband is the managing director, if I'm not mistaken with the titles. So they were in their office. We go up to their office. When we walk in, she's sitting there and he's sitting there as well. And then he says, hey, so and so, I'm here with, I think he called me his cousin. I'm here with my cousin. She goes to UKZN, but she's looking for a holiday job. And then I remember the guy was busy and the lady was the one responding because she's the one responsible for like staff and stuff like that. So she responds and she's like, oh, okay, cool. Okay, you're looking for, she's looking for a job. That's nice type of face. She's always been like that. Even when I was working with her for years, she was just had that face. She's like, okay, sharp, she's looking for a job, as if she's saying everybody's looking for a job. And then he's like, he keeps quiet after that. And I keep quiet, obviously, because I didn't prepare anything. I don't know what's going on. I'm 18 years old. And then she looks at us and then she's like to me, well, are you not gonna say anything? Guys, I was like, well, I didn't plan on saying anything. In my head, I'm not saying it out loud, but in my head, I'm like, I didn't plan on saying anything. And I look at the guy because he's the one who told me that I should relax. I look at the guy like, well, she's asking if I'm not going to say anything. He keeps quiet. So now I have to act on the spot, right? And then I say to her, well, like he said, my name is Andiswa, and I am studying a BCom I was accounting at the time, studying a BCom in accounting, and I'm looking for some work experience as well as to earn some pocket money during the holidays. And she's like, okay, cool. But what does accounting have to do with what you want to do here? Mind you, I don't even know what's happening here. I don't know what the job is about. I don't know where, like, I've been to the Magic Company, but I don't know. I don't have any context, guys, to prepare. So I have to think on the spot. So I'm like, no, the fact that I'm studying BCom accounting does not necessarily mean that I'm looking for job experience for accounting. I will still get there. I'm still in my first year. What I'm looking for is to experience the workplace. So I want to, learn how to be responsible. I want to learn how work actually works, basically, and learn to be responsible, learn to be accountable, and have something to look forward to and stuff like that. I just put something together and I said that is the reason why, and I believe that I can learn that in any environment, despite what I actually will be doing. And I'll also interact with customers and clients and stuff like that, which is really going to help me with my confidence skills and learning to express myself and to service clients and customers that you can find anyway. Hey, I'm still surprised at where I got that, but I got it. And she's like, she looks at me and she's like, okay. Then she says to me, well, we don't really pay a lot here. We don't pay a lot. I actually later found out that that's one of the places for part-time jobs that actually pays really well. It pays better than any other area there. But then she said to me, we don't pay a lot. Isn't that going to be a problem for you? And I said to her, it's not going to be a problem for me because I'm not being motivated by the money at the moment. Like I mentioned, I am a full-time student. I'm giving interview tips now. I am a full-time student and I'm looking to learn more than anything else at this very point in time. So the money won't be an issue for me per se. Obviously, I would like to be remunerated for the value that I put in, but it's not the main driver. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. And then I also mentioned to her that my mom also works here and she stays in the staff quarters, and I'm going to be staying with her while I work here. So it's going to be very convenient for me. I don't have transport costs or anything like that, which means that the money will land, it's going to be enough. Then she looks at me and she's like, oh, okay. But isn't the fact that you are not driven by money, doesn't it mean that I'm going to train you and then you're going to disappear because you don't care about the money? My friend is quiet standing at the door, guys. At this point, my friend is quiet standing at the door. Man, I'm joking. I'm not joking. So he's quiet standing at the door. And then I say to her, well, the fact that I am not driven by money means I'm not going to be looking for other jobs while I work for you. So I'm going to know that this is my holiday gig and this is where I come. Whereas another person that you hire who's driven by money is going to turn as soon as they find a better opportunity, they're going to go to that employer and they're going to leave you. Whereas I'm more reliable, not only distance wise, but with the fact that I'm not driven by money means I will stay. And I did stay, guys, for years, right? So answer that question. Hi, okay. Then she looks at me and she turns around. She doesn't say anything and she grabs something from the cupboard. Then she turns around and she hands me over a t-shirt, an orange t-shirt. So then I'm like, okay. Then she says to me, when can you start? And I say, start what? She's like, when can you start your training? I'm like, oh. And then she's like, when? So I tell her that I can start tomorrow. I'm ready, like immediately. She's like, okay, that's great. Come for training tomorrow. Be here just before 9. You're going to start at 9. You're going to end at 5. I think that I actually started training without knowing how much I'm going to earn or what I'm going to do. But I just took that t-shirt. I was glad I got a job. Literally the first day I went out, I landed myself a job and it started the next day. My mom was so happy when I told her. She even forgot that her friend stood by the door and didn't make things happen like he said he would. But honestly, I took a lot from that experience. Even now, I'm just always ready to speak up for myself. I'm always ready to respond. I'm always ready to tell you what I can do and what I bring to the table. So I got that from there and it just stuck to me. So the next day I started my job. And then I asked the lady who was training me, who is also a very good friend of mine now, years later. She's still a good friend of mine. The lady who was training me, I asked her how much people get paid. And she told me that, I forgot the hourly rate, but it was 120 Rand when I started per day. Now listen to this, right? 120 Rand a day to a student is a lot of money, especially a student who does not have to rent, who does not have to buy food or anything like that. And my mom actually got lunch as part of her day. She got lunch. I think she got 2 food coupons that she used, and she used one for lunch for me when I was at work. So she'd actually bring me lunch and I had no transport costs. God bless that woman. I love her to bits. She really spoiled me during my working journey, and she made it as soft as possible. So then it was 120 Rand a day, and how many days you worked obviously depended on the shifts that you got, but we got really good shifts. Like I'd work 3 to 4 days, 1 day off, 3 to 4 days, 1 day off during the holidays, which meant that if my aim was always to clock in like 10 days or something like that, or just over 10 days or 15 days. But if I worked for a good 3 weeks, I remember I used to get paid in total about 3,800 and something, close to 4,000 Rand. And the great thing was the fact that because they worked on a 15th to 15th type of, calculating pay, it meant that I always got paid only when I went back to varsity. So then it would come in a lump sum because it's for the days of the 15th of the month to the 15th. And remember, I'm not working the entire month. So a couple of thousand rands when you are a student with no responsibilities and with expenses taken care of. Yo, guys, that was the life. That was the life. You think you're earning a lot, but if your responsibilities are almost as much as you earn, then really what is the point? Because at that point in my life, I had the income and I had no responsibilities. So it was all my money, So that's how much I earned. That's how I got my first job. That was the life. Like, that was the life. And I actually started my first investment using the income that I got from that job. My first investment was a disaster. I did not know then what I know now, definitely. And maybe I'll take you guys through my very first investment and why it was a disaster in another video. So that was my first job, how much I earned, and why it was bliss, guys. It's because disposable income was popping. I had no expenses for that income. I obviously used to like spoil my mom with taking her out to like, you know, a Nando's or something, but it was nothing serious. And I'm not a liker of things. So I'm not a liker of expensive clothes or going out or clubbing or any of those things. So my money also wasn't spent on that. So I could actually see the cash much more than I can see it now. Okay, I can't see my money now, but I think you guys know what I mean, right? Now there's like bills to pay and all of those things, and these family things, and yeah. Anyway, so that was the first job, and then I was very happy. I was proud of myself. I worked there from that June first year. I worked there in April, June, September, and December. So I worked there 4 times a year, getting like 2,000, 3,000, close to 4,000 per pay, depending on how many shifts I actually got to work. And then after that, I then worked there until my last year when I graduated. I graduated in 2016. So from 2012 to 2016, I used to work there 4 times a year. And then I actually only left when I found a job. Even in December, when I got my results and I knew that I graduated, I didn't tell them that I was not coming back the following year because I wanted to work there if I don't get a graduate program. Guys, I've never been proud about employment. One thing about me, I didn't have that thing of okay, so at the magic company, I forgot to mention I was a general consultant, so I worked in a bowling alley. So we had a kiosk that had a little bar and some snacks, and then we opened bowling alleys for people. So I dealt with cash and customer service. I forgot to mention that. So I thought that I would do that after I graduated until, excuse me, until I found a job. But then thankfully, I found a job very soon after my final year, so I didn't have to resort to that. But I was very happy to go back there and just work there while looking for a job. I've never been proud to say, you know what, I'm a graduate, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Guys, when it comes to imali, you guys don't know. When it comes to imali, I'm willing to hustle. Even at my age, like I'm willing to hustle. You've seen some stuff on my channel. I'm not picky. I am not picky. If it's gonna pay me and it's gonna pay me well, I'll do it. So that was the first income and first job. Then in my second year, I had a friend that I shared a house with, and she started tutoring for this company called Teach Me Too. And she was tutoring physics and maths or whatever, and she told me about it. And you get paid per hour as a tutor. Obviously, I heard that money is there to be made. So I was in, you know, and I applied at Teach Me Too, and I tutored for them from my second year. So I used to get that income as well. That pay was very dependent on the subjects that you were tutoring and the grade. But I remember one of my clients was in grade 6. That was one of my permanent clients. So you get those clients who take like one tutorial or two tutorials at a time. They don't really give you a lot of money, but you get those consistent clients that you tutor for like 6 months or 12 months. So one of them, I think I was getting a grand or just above a grand a month from tutoring that child from my second year. So that was my monthly income. And then all the other tutoring came on an ad hoc basis. So that was my second stream of income. And the company still exists. I actually also stopped working for them only when I got to Joburg. I stopped. So from my second of year of varsity, I continued because obviously they're all over the country. I continued when I was in Joburg. The only problem with Joburg is transport. If you don't have a car in Joburg, you are, I don't know. I don't know, but I couldn't tutor because I had to use an Uber to get around. I couldn't use public transport. And then the public transport would eat like all of my money. Another thing about side hustles, guys, is you must always make sure that the money that you are putting in, you are getting a fair amount out. Because side hustles are not about experience. This is not exposure. It's not your career. So I can't spend 100 Rand out of the 120 Rand that I get for the session and be left with 20 Rand. That just doesn't make sense to me, especially if I'm not getting added value such as experience and I'm doing it purely for the money. So that was my second stream of income. Then that birthed another stream of income because I then thought to myself, well, if I am tutoring and I'm creating my own lesson plans, I tutored accounting, English, and isiZulu, by the way. I'm creating my own lesson plans and I'm doing this thing myself from A up to Z, and I'm only tutoring, for Teach Me To. They act as like an agency of some sort. Then I decided that, well, if I could find someone's cousin or someone's brother who also needed tutorials, I could just charge them more directly as opposed to going through an agent. So then I had a third stream of income now where I found my own clients, which also happened to be more fixed and long-term than the clients that I got through the company that I was tutoring for. So now I had 4 times a year, I had this income from my job, my holiday job that got paid when I went back to varsity. Then my second stream of income was from the tutoring company for tutoring. Then my third stream of income was now my hustle of tutoring people directly. Again, it brought me like 1,000, 1,500 per month. It wasn't a lot of money, like it's not a lot of money, but best believe you, it was a lot of money to me then, especially because it was disposable income. I didn't have a lot of expenses, which made me a lot of money. And because I wasn't, like I said, very lavish in my lifestyle and my taste, I got to save quite a bit of that money and also end up investing some as well. Then obviously the last stream of income is family support, whether that be my mom or my brothers, or whoever was sending me a monthly allowance. I still had that. So they might ask for a refund now. After this video, because they weren't aware of all my hustling and my what during while studying, so they might just be like, can we please have a refund because this is too much. This was too much. But anyway, so that was my fourth stream of income, was the family support. Yeah, man, and that is how I got to 4 streams of income at the age of 18, 19 as well. And I've always been this person. Even now, I don't rely purely on my salary. I like to find ways of like creating opportunities that will lead to income. I think that what is different now from then is that I'm definitely not monetary driven only when it comes to the opportunities that I seek. I seek things that I will enjoy as well. Whereas then I think I was willing to do anything as long as there was an income. Now I am at a point where I do things for income, but I need to find some sense of enjoyment from it because I work very hard from a 9 to 5, 5 days a week. So I'm not gonna spend my 2 days that I have, which is Saturday and Sunday, and after hours, dreading what I do. So, and that is definitely coming from a point of privilege, you may say, or being blessed, as I put it, that I'm able to get to that point. But I do believe that as long as you do a lot of the groundwork in the beginning, you do get to a point where you are able to make, choices that are a bit more different, and you're able to refine what you like and what you don't like. And, you get to a position where you can honestly afford to. So guys, that is how I got my first job. That is when I got my first job. Like I said, it was so exciting for me. And I had to go to SARS and get an income tax number, and I got a pay slip whenever I got paid. All of those things were so exciting coming from someone, who's been wanting to hustle for a very long time. I just felt like an adult. I wasn't even excited about paying tax, guys. Can you believe it? It was that crazy. But to me, it just meant, I can see the light. I can see all of the things that I've created in my head coming to life, where I go for something and I achieve it. I go for something and I achieve it. And I think what can be taken from this is, I don't like ending videos, especially story times. So I think what I can take from this is that I just really love how I was able to make the most out of a situation that I wasn't necessarily being prepared for. And also what you can also take away is, just be on the lookout for opportunities. Think on your feet. Sometimes when the opportunities are not there and they're not on the job portal, create them for yourself. I constantly think of ways that I can, grow my portfolio and grow my streams of income. And some, to be honest, because my job is very demanding, I can't do anymore. Like tutoring is something that I gave up a long time ago just because of the time clashes and all of those things. So you can't do it all, but I definitely encourage you to, try as much as possible to fit in as much as possible. Because I mean, spending less, if that is an issue, then definitely find ways to create more. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed chatting with you guys as always. And if you did, please don't forget to give it a huge thumbs up. And also do consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't done so I can see you in the next video. Bye, guys.